So today I'm going to be starting a new little series that I'm thinking of trying out. This is just a new type of content I was thinking about doing. So I'm going to be calling this series Reboot Revival. And the idea behind this is I am going to take technology. For now, it's mostly laptops that I've been working on, but also maybe some other types of devices that are either old or maybe they're broken, and then I will be examining them, giving a little bit of history about them, seeing if we can fix them or get them up to date, or whatever the case may be. Maybe taking a look at them as just kind of a general overview. We'll see. It's not really going to follow a specific format, but it's usually going to be taking a look at devices that are either old or non-functional, and then from there, giving an overview and then seeing what we can do with it, if we can fix it or whatever the case may be. So this is going to be my first episode of that. And that brings us to this specimen right here. This is the Dell Precision 7530. This is a workstation laptop released in probably 2018, I believe. This was the Precision lineup is really meant for like the high-end workstation level laptop. And this is what that was for Dell at the time. So this features a Core i7. It's I believe it is in 8860, I think. It's an 8th gen Core i7 with 6 cores in it, and I believe 12 threads, which is pretty cool. So let's take a look. So it's probably from about 2018. So you have your 2 USB-A ports here. We have plenty of vents for your fans. Got a headphone jack. On the back here, you can see we have all of our I/O. So we have Ethernet, mini display port. That's pretty cool. HDMI, and then your big barrel for your power. And then on this side, that's pretty cool. 2 Thunderbolt ports. That's pretty neat. Full-size SD card, and then SC. I'm actually not sure what SC is, but that's a thing. So yeah, pretty stacked in terms of I/O. You can see how thick it is. It is a thick laptop, but quite honestly, as far as 2018 goes, this wasn't much thicker than your average gaming laptop. If you had a laptop for gaming that had a graphics card in it, this is about as thick as it was, and this does have a graphics card in it, so that's pretty neat. So let's go ahead and flip it over, and let's go ahead and get to opening it and see what we have in here. I have done kind of a preliminary overview of this. That's another thing about this series is I haven't decided. I think the format, the general format for this is I'm not going to do like a surprise video on these. I think I will only be reviewing technology that I have looked at ahead of time and have determined that it works. Because I've just been burned too many times like working on a video and I have a piece of equipment or a piece of technology that I need for the video, and it turns out that it's dead. So I don't think I'm going to necessarily waste time on stuff that I know is dead or not functional. But then again, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of growing pains, so I guess just bear with me as I kind of figure out the format of this. But I have inspected this thing ahead of time, so I know that it does work somewhat. So yeah. Here we are on the internals of the laptop. So we have our battery here. This is a 97 watt hour battery. That's a big big battery. We have an SSD here. I don't think this was shipped with the laptop, but it is a 1 terabyte. We have 2 RAM slots on the back. Those are both populated with 4 gigs of DDR4, so 8 gigs back here. And then this is actually pretty cool. This laptop features 2 slots for Optane. Now, if you weren't aware of Optane, this was Intel's thing kind of back in the day. They were promoting Optane big time. But the idea is that these were M.2 form factor, but they were really fast, non-volatile memory. I remember seeing 16 gigs and 32 gigs, but I think you could get higher than that. You can still get them for pretty cheap on eBay if you need them, but the idea was that they were really fast, and they would help if you had like a mechanical hard drive. They would help cache in the most frequently accessed data from your operating system. Now, in this particular machine, underneath this battery, you could actually have a smaller battery right here, and then over here, you could actually put a 2.5-inch hard drive underneath this battery assembly. But for this particular one, they don't have that. They had the M.2 SSD with the big battery. So obviously maximizing their battery life. Now today, Optane doesn't make a lot of sense. It was kind of a cool concept back in the day, but the problem, I guess, was M.2 SSDs, I guess to be fair, they weren't as mainstream as they are now. Mechanical hard drives still had kind of a place because SSDs were still kind of pricey, and so you couldn't necessarily beat the storage per dollar when it came to hard drives. So mechanical hard drives still were used, they still had a place. So Optane did make sense, but as soon as you have SSDs getting cheaper, it just stopped making sense. So Optane quietly died, but I think it was kind of a cool idea. You know, pretty innovative. So look at this. Here is your battery here. And then you can see right here is the slot for your hard drive. That's where it would ordinarily go. So yeah, I'm going to unplug this battery real quick because we actually do have a problem with this particular laptop that we do need to fix. So actually, I guess first of all we'll power it on and I can show you guys a little bit about this thing. Okay. Oh boy. All right, so I'm gonna open this up and you might notice something wrong with this thing. Ah, there we go. Yes, it is missing a keyboard. That is kind of how it came out of the recycling center. I picked this up for 40 bucks, definitely as a fixer-upper. So I'm going to have to get a keyboard for it eventually. But that's neither here nor there. Or I could just not and use an external keyboard. But check this out. Under the keyboard, under this little slot, boom, 2 more RAM slots. These are both 8 gigs, so that's 16 gigs plus the 8 on the back is 24 gigs total of RAM, which is quite generous. So that's 24 gigs of RAM. But I believe DDR4 SODIMM goes to 16 gigs each. So you could have, I think, 64 gigs of RAM, 16 times 4 in this particular machine, which is absolutely crazy. But it's definitely a thing you could do if you want, I guess. That's just a lot of RAM for a laptop, especially. Put this back in here. Okay, so we have power button. Let's go ahead and take a look at the laptop. I went ahead and charged it, so I know it's going to function. Wait for it to boot up a bit. So yeah. So we'll go into our setup and take a look at this thing. Drop my screw there. Okay. And then we'll have to do a fix on this thing. that hopefully I can show you guys what we're doing. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get a keyboard. I think the keyboard for this is only like 20 bucks, so that's not bad. Now, here's a problem. Touchpad works totally fine. Here's a big issue. So down here, you see we have our buttons, right? First of all, they're sticky. That's gross. Right click, fine. Middle click, fine. Left click. There's no click. This thing is basically dead. Now it does function. So look at this. All right, see? I'm gonna hit left click. All right, you can watch. It does work. All right, it does work, but it doesn't have a click, a tactile click. So while it's making contact, it still is, you can tell that the actual mechanical switch or whatever in this thing is dead. So it is still making contact, but I'm gonna need to replace it. So I went ahead and ordered the part, so we'll go ahead and get that replaced. So let's go ahead and take a look at our, at our diagnostics. So, okay, it's an 8850H. I said 8860, but it's an 8850. This is kind of on the higher end. I believe you could also get this with an 8750, which also was 6 cores, but I think the clock speed was slightly lower. You can see we have our full 24 gigs of RAM is detected at 2666 megahertz. That makes sense. We are running in dual channel. It's DDR4, so all of our memory looks like it's being detected correctly, which is pretty cool. Our boot sequence, does it detect our, I'm wondering if it actually detects our SSD. I guess we'll have to see. Maybe in the config? This is for letting you enable drives on board. Okay, got it. Not much else in here that I really care about right now. Virtualization, yeah, you're gonna want that because this is definitely a great laptop for running VMs, I suppose. Battery info. It says the health of this battery is excellent, which is kind of amazing. Really surprised to see that because it's, you know, as far to my knowledge, it's a 7-year-old battery, and it's not exactly cheap either. So that's interesting to me. But yeah, so not much to see, but all of our hardware is being detected correctly. This thing is obviously working fine, so it's a fine laptop. It just needs its own. It needs a keyboard more than anything. But I'm not going to be putting in the keyboard today. What I will be doing is installing the new buttons for the trackpad. So I'll go ahead and get that shut down, unplug the keyboard. We'll go ahead and flip this over. All right. Now I'm hoping that there's not a ton of disassembly required for this. Oh, also I forgot to show you, it was on there if you saw, I didn't point it out, but the Quadro P2000 is on this thing as well. The Quadro P2000 is, let me check real quick. Looks like it features, it's a Pascal, so it's the same as the NVIDIA 10th gen architecture. Looks like it has 1024 CUDA cores and 5 gigs of VRAM. So if this is a workstation laptop that you're using for like engineering or something, this should function just fine for you. So I'm taking the battery out. But yeah, that's the GPU that is in this thing. So yeah, okay. All right, I was able to get the new buttons installed. I'm sorry I didn't record it, but it was not a very technical process. It was kind of more finagling to see if I could get them in there, so I kind of had to squeeze them. There are a lot of parts on this laptop, and I was worried about taking too many things off and not being able to get back together again, so I just tried to do as little as possible, but it wasn't a very good tutorial, is all I'll really say about that. So, as we are reassembling this thing. I guess I could talk a bit about if you are interested in getting one of these for whatever reason. They're not awful machines. This thing is, it's got a 6-core processor and a Quadro GPU, so if you're trying to do any kind of CAD or any 3D work on it, it should be perfectly fine. Oh, one thing I meant to mention is that this thing right here, you don't see these on a lot of laptops, that I believe is for a SIM card, so you could get presumably like a 4G network, so you can actually use this thing like out in the field or on a plane or something. That's really cool. That's a pretty cool thing to have on a laptop. So yeah, I just thought that was neat. But yeah, if you're interested in owning one of these, this original configuration as it is, you know, here, I don't have exact numbers on it, but I know that it sold kind of in the range of around anywhere from like 3,000 to, I think the max configuration with all the bells and whistles was like 5,000, which is insane. So it was an expensive laptop at the time. If you want one nowadays, they go on eBay for anywhere from, I've seen, it all depends on what you have, but I've seen these go on eBay for between 160 to maybe 250, maybe $300 for the top of the line one. So they still are able to fetch a little bit of a pretty penny on eBay. So I got this laptop for $40. Thankfully I had the battery, but the battery I'm assuming is probably on its last legs because it's the original, so it's 7 years old. M.2 1 terabyte was about another 40 bucks, so I'm in it for about $80 total. So if I wanted to sell it, I could easily double my money on it. I'm not going to sell it, but if I wanted to, I definitely could. So that's pretty neat. One thing I did not do in my research, I don't know if this shipped with a touch model or not. I don't know that actually. So that would be kind of a nice thing to know. But yeah, that's about it. So what I'm gonna do is finish getting this thing assembled, and then we can from there we can get it powered on and make sure that the new buttons work properly. I guess that's not where that goes. So let's get this thing clipped back on. You know what? After the video is over, I will finish reassembling this in full. I just want to make sure that our buttons work again. So let's go ahead and make sure that. So you can hear now it's not squishy anymore. The left click. Hear that? It's not squishy. Right click, or middle click, right click. So they all feel nice, and they're not as like, something about that rubberized texture, it tends to like attract, look at that. It gets like all gunky and gross, and this one, it's dead. So like the rubber dome on this thing is just toast. So that's going in the trash. And then let's go ahead and see that our new one works and is detected. So yeah, but that's pretty interesting. So if you wanted to get one of these nowadays, like I said, on eBay they go for between 160 is on the lower end, up to 250 to 300. So you could reasonably get one for around the 200 range. I saw them selling for as well. And it is an older platform, but you know, it still, you know, works. It still does everything that you need it to do today. Oh, there you go. All right, ribbon cable was not seated properly, but look now. So buttons work, they feel great. I think we're gonna call that a success. Only thing left would be to get this thing a new keyboard. I think they run about 20 bucks on eBay. And then we have a fully functional machine. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Like I was saying, the thing about these, if you were interested in getting one today, they are, you know, a pretty cheap system. I mean, getting a 6-core laptop for between 160 to 300 bucks, you know, not necessarily the easiest thing. I'm not sure, there's probably some Ryzen laptops out there that are a little bit more modern that have 6 cores, but I mean, this has a lot of features on it, and I doubt the laptops you could find for this spec and price, they probably don't have this level of connectivity with, you know, HDMI and DisplayPort and a 97 watt-hour battery that'll last a long time as long as you aren't doing anything too crazy. So I think that there is a use case for this thing, and I think that, you know, depending on who you are, it could make a lot of sense. So yeah, I think that it's a cool machine. I'm happy to take a look at it. I was happy to get the new buttons installed on it. They feel great, actually. But this would be a fantastic machine to run Linux if you want to do any kind of programming, or if you're into CAD, you got a Quadro GPU in there, so you can do your 3D work if you want. Anything that you have to any kind of workload you have to throw at this thing, I'm sure it'll handle it. It's a workhorse, and even though it's 7 years old, I'm sure it can still get the job done. So yeah, that's going to conclude the first episode of Reboot Revive. Let me know what you guys think. I kind of enjoyed just taking a look at this thing and going over it. I think it was pretty interesting. Oh, while I have you here, actually, there you go. So if you can see right here, I'm gonna highlight it, but you have right here your NVIDIA P2000 Quadro. So there you go. 1080p screen, it's 15 inches. There you go. And then right here you actually have cellular device. So you can have your SIM card in there if you want to get this thing internet from anywhere, which is pretty cool. So it's a pretty cool set of features. But that's going to conclude this first episode of Reboot Revival. And yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. So let me know what you guys think of this video format. I like the casual nature of it. And with that, I think I'll see you next time.